Hello Lomzy team, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Lomzy. I'm back again with another tutorial on how to make a tiered dress. As you can see, is a 3-tiered dress. I'm going to be showing you how to make this today. So if you like to sew with clean finishing, let's go sewing. So this is for a 5-year-old child. The measurements I'll be using is 23 inches bust. That's the chest measurement is 23 inches, shoulder is 10 inches, armhole depth is 6 inches, and dress length is 27 inches. Then the half length we're going to be using is 10 inches. So I have my fabric folded in two. I have interfaced it with a soft interface. The gum I use, they call it soft gum stay in Nigeria, so that's what I'm going to be using. So with this, like this, I am going to be folding this to make it come into 4. So this is going to be the front, is going to be the center front, and this place is going to be the center back. So I will fold it like this. Let me check if this will be enough. So by the time I fold it like this, I want to get a straight line where I will be working from. Yeah, this is freehand cutting. It's a freehand cutting for this bodice block. So we're going to be taking down our measurements from here. The measurement I'm using for the half length is 10 inches. I am going to be marking that here, 10 inches. I'm not going to be adding any sewing allowance now. When I'm done, I'll add my sewing allowance. So 10 inches half length. So the next thing is the armhole depth, which is 6 inches. I'll mark that here. Armhole depth 6 inches. The next thing is the shoulder width. The shoulder width we're working with is 10 inches. We divide that by 2. We'll have 5 inches, and I'll mark that here. I'll connect it. Yeah, so the next thing we have to get is the neck width and the neck shaping. So the neck we're working with is 2.5 inches width. The neck width is 2.5 inches. And the neck depth for the back is 1 inch. That's what we're using. 1 inch for the neck depth for the back. The front neck depth is 4 inches. And I will mark that there. And I'm going to be connecting these lines like that. So I connect this here. And I connect that there like that. So the next thing I have to do is to get the shoulder sloping. Our shoulders are not straight, so you have to drop down a bit to slope for the shaping of the shoulder, which is 0.75. I'm going to be marking that here like that, and I'll connect this to this. Once I'm done connecting this, the next thing is to get the armhole curve. And for us to get that, you measure from this shoulder sloping to this place. Whatever you have, you divide that by 2. And what I have there is 5.5, which is 2.75, and I'll mark that here. That is the center of that. The next thing we have to do is to get the body round measurements, and what we have is 23 inches divided by 4 will give us 5.75, and I'm going to be adding 0.25 to that for easing allowance, which will give us 6 inches, and I'll mark that here. 6 inches, I'll mark it here, and I'll bring it down on the shoulder. I'll bring it down on the waist length, 6 inches, and I'm going to be connecting that here like that. And so for me to get the armhole curve, I will have to pass through here, go curve it. I will curve this out as the armhole curve for the back. So we have this like this. And for the front, I have to come in 1/2 inch to get the armhole curve for the front, and I'm going to be connecting that like so. Yeah, So the back, where I'm using 1/2 inch sewing allowance for the back, I'm going to be adding that like that. For the front waist, I am going to be dropping it 1/2 inch like that, and I'm going to be connecting it to this place. Let me show you. You know, children's clothes are their tummy area has to be taken care of. So for the front waistline, I'm dropping it 1/2 inch like that, and I'm going to be connecting it back to the side seam. So what I am using for the side seam is 1 inch. I'll add that here, which is here actually. So I am going to be cutting out using sewing allowances to cut all these things out. For the back, I am going to be, for the armhole curve, I am going to be cutting exactly where I have my armhole curve. I'm not going to be adding any sewing allowance because I want the sleeve to have 1.5 inches strap. So I am going to be cutting exactly where I have the curve. I'm not going to be adding any sewing allowance to the armhole curve. So with that, I will add 1/2 inch sewing allowance to the shoulder. And for the neck, I am going to be leaving it at that. I'm going to be leaving it. I'm not adding any sewing allowance to the neck. So I have it like this. Now remember, I want this, the back should be shorter and the front should be longer. So with that, I am going to be marking this like that. Yeah, that is. So before we go into that, we have to, the next thing we do is to cut this thing out from the material, the main fabric we're using. So I'm going to be cutting this out. So I have cut out the lining from the main fabric. So the next thing we have to do now is to go to the tiered skirt part for the dress, which is the main part. I'm going to be showing you the tier parts and how what you're going to be cutting. So the length of the dress, the length of the skirt part is 17 inches, and we are going to be adding 1 inch sewing allowance to that, right? So it will be 18 inches. Yes, so this is the length we want to use for the lower part. So what I will do is, I want the lining to be 3 inches higher than the main fabric, the final length of the dress. So I am going to be dropping that at 15 inches. So meaning, remember, 1 inch is allowance, meaning I have 2 inches that is going to overlap the lining. Yeah, so once I have this, the remaining part is the part I am going to consider for the tiered part. So we are going to be dividing this into 3 because we are having 3 layers, right? If you have 2 layers, you divide it by 2. If you have 3 layers, you divide it by 3. So when you have it like this, that is the measurement we are going to be using on the lining. We are going to be using the length of tier where we are going to be joining. We are going to be marking it 5'10". I hope you understand what I mean. Anyway, when I go to that place, you will know. So how to determine the length of the tier itself is, now you have 5 inches here. From here to here is 5 inches, right? Including these 2 inches. That will make it 7 inches. Plus the 1 inch allowance that we have added. So we are going to be having our tiered 18 inches. Yeah, I hope you understand this. If you don't understand anything I just said here now, you can drop that in the comment section and I will answer you. So, but let me go to my fabric. Maybe that would make more sense. So this is the lining we're going to be using. I have is 20 inches and the amount of fabric I needed is 45 inches. I'm going to be folding that in two. When I fold it in two like this, I will have this, and so I am going to be folding on bias this way. This is what I am going to be folding like this, and I get the length of my skirt part, and the length of the skirt part I want to use is 15 inches, right? Yeah, so I am going to be getting that here. So once I have gotten this as the 15 inches, what I will do is to fold this here like that, and I will cut out like that to have my straight line. Yes, so once I have this like this, I'm going to be shaping my lower part to be like this. Yes, so I'll have something like this. So I'm going to be cutting this place open. Why you folded like that is for you to have a fuller lower part. If you fold it straight and you want to cut it out, you will not get what you want. That's why I had to make it like that. So the next thing is for you to determine the back and the front, right? Because the back is going to be having zip allowance, we'll have to bring out the zip allowance here like this. When we know the back and the front, you turn it the other way and you cut out this excess, which is here like this, and then you can cut open this. But I don't want to cut open this until after I'm done marking my tiers. So we said we are going to be having 3 tiers, right? Yes. So 5, our tier measurement is 5 inches, so 5 and 5. I'm going to be marking it all around. 5, 5 and 5. So our tier will come 1, 2 and 3. Good. So I will turn this way again and mark it. 5, 5. So this is for the front. I will leave it like this and mark this one also. This is for the back. I mark it 5. So once I have this like this, I know this is the back. I will now cut open here. So once I get to my machine, I will sew this like this. I'm going to be sewing this like this. Once I get to my machine, I will sew it like that, join it and also join the other part. Once I'm done with that, I would gather my tier and I will place it on these lines. So let me get the tier. So remember we said what we got was 8 inches, and that's what I have here. 8 inches, that's what I have here for my tier, the length of tier I am using. So by the time I sew, let me show you, by the time I gather this like that and it's on top of it, you see it's covering it. Yeah, so that's what I am going to be doing. The amount of fabric I use for this 5-year-old dress is 2 yards. After cutting out my bodice, I used the remaining part and I cut up 8 inches like that. So I am going to be joining this into a long strip and I will gather it and I start placing it on my lining. I have joined this. You see how this is? You see how neat this is? So if you watch the video on how to sew sleeveless dress. This is how neat your dress would come out. So I will have done this. The next thing is the lower part. As you can see, I have joined this. So look at how I did this. If you remember, I said the side that I marked is the side that you're going to join facing up. As you can see, that side that I have joined is inside, is here. If you can see, that's it here. So you won't see it, so that your job would actually be neat like this. If you want, you don't have to line it again. You can just use this single lining as the lining. So if you see how the tears came out, this is overlapping on that. So what I did was, after the gathers, I placed it on it. So for a good tip, so that you find it easy to make, you first of all make the lower one, this one, and lastly this one. If you start from top, it will be so difficult for you to do, so you try to start from the lowest part. So another one is, before you join the side, make sure you have overlocked this, or you have folded your lining, whichever way, so that your side seam would come out neat like that. So the next thing you have to do is, if you're not adding another lining to this, because for me, I'm not going to be adding another lining to this, so I am going to be making it like this. So how I would join it now is, when I go to my machine, you know, this is the right side like this. So right side facing together, I would hold this like so, and you know, turn this the other way. I hope you guys can see. So when I hold it like that, I will sew it all the way around. I will sew it all the way around. By the time I'm done sewing it that way, I will now from inside bring out the skirt part. I hope you understand what I mean. So when I'm done doing that, because I'm not lining it, I will have my zip like that. I'll go ahead and use invisible zip and attach to this zipper part. I have a video where I taught how to inside an invisible zip. I'll be dropping that in the description section below, so that you go ahead and learn how to add an invisible zip. So that's it for today's video. See you in my next video. Yeah, hope you enjoyed this baby girl dress. If you do, please guys, do give me a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section, and subscribe to my channel guys, and hit the notification bell icon so you don't miss any of my sewing tutorials. So once again, see you in my next video. Bye, and God bless.